hello everyone, and welcome to today's masterclass. What a title! The three reasons behind our slow growth. You might be saying, I'm working a lot, I'm doing all the possible in my life, and last year I'm working so hard. How can I be faster? And I would like to be faster and grow faster, my project to go faster, my business to grow faster. I would like all of that. And there are so many aspects, so many reasons. But the most important aspect is your operating system, your thinking and your feeling, the way you manage yourself, the way you've mastered your skills, and the way you built your vision. But we'll get into that. Now, what are these three reasons that might make our growth slower? And we might agree on one thing that after 6 months, 8 months, you look backward and you say, oh, I could have seen this reason, or I could have seen this thing, I could have avoided that or this. Why didn't I see it? Well, if you've wondered, why is that possible that others also have 24 hours, but they achieve things much faster? Well, today we'll get three answers. Not one, three answers. So if you pass this level of feeling uncomfortable and being a little bit triggered by this kind of title, the reasons why I'm slow, and you are here, then congratulations. Means that you are seriously oriented towards growth, and that's amazing. So today's masterclass is going to be organized in this way. The first part, I'm going to share with you a map, a structure, so that when we mention things, you know what we are talking about, so that you can orient during this process. And in the second part, we're going to discover or reveal three reasons which might be your biggest areas which didn't receive enough attention, so that you can do that today. I'm going to use a whiteboard, but if you want to grab a piece of paper and a pen, so you want to take notes, that would be amazing, because this is a masterclass. It's not a theory thing. It's not just talking about things. It's not just inspirational, motivational. It has a structure, and you have to project it in your mind and see where, in which area you want to bring a little bit more attention. Or maybe you'll discover that you are doing actually very amazing in some areas where you had doubts, and actually the solution is to keep going or to slightly adjust the direction. All right, so with that being said, what is this structure about? Well, I will start very, very, very simple. Okay, so let's cancel what is right here. We don't need this. So all of us know how to read, right? Each of us knows how to read. Well, what are the elements of what helps us to read? What helps us to read are the words, but below the words are the letters. So the first level would be that we have some letters that we have to learn. And if we know the letters, if we know the alphabet, then we can build some words out of it. So the next level, so this is the foundation level. Now the next one, this is just an example, so that you'll use it as a metaphorical tool, but then we'll get a little much deeper, of course. So the next level are the words. You create words out of letters. You might know all the alphabet, but still the vocabulary. For example, my vocabulary in English is not one, it's one of the greatest. So the more words I know, the better I can explain my ideas, right? So the ideas are the third level in this structure. So that leads to another level, which is the style. Which style are you revealing your ideas or your writing style? So many people can express the same idea, but in a different style, in a different manner. My style is to bring always frameworks, squares and examples and things, so that everything is structured. So this is my style. Somebody has a different style. So we have this example. So it's basic, so that you understand how we are going to structure the next elements. What is the next element? So let's look a little bit now into our psyche. We have some drives, something that is driving you. So your drives are the basics, the foundation of what is pushing you forward. You don't really know why. You don't know why. Where have you taken this drive? But it's there. That fire that's burning. That I would like. I want this. I want that. So it's not yet a desire, but you're pushed. You are pushed towards a direction. You're not pushed in another direction, but you are pushed in rather in that specific direction. Well, these are the results or the manifestation of the drives. So you have your drives. We'll not talk too much about drives, but probably you got the idea. Something that's you're driven by something which is not formed yet. If we can learn how to translate these drives into something more tangible for the mind where we can express them, then this becomes our desires. So the desire is the next level. The desires is the next level in after our drives. Now, what is the third level? What's your idea? You may want to take a guess. What is the above the desire? Because wanting something is it's a little bit childish. Is think of the heart sometimes. It's much more complex than that, but it's a desire. It doesn't have a structure, doesn't have a plan, which we're going to discuss in a second. So what is the above? Not the evolution, but the above level that stays on top of the desire is the vision. So having a desire is great, but if you have a vision, means that you have learned how to translate these desires into a vision. Well, I want this, so now I probably can imagine that. Out of this desire, now you start to translate it into something that you can already envision. It's not tangible yet, it hasn't happened, but you can see it. And this is the next level. And what stays above this, because we're going to have these three levels here and some elements which are going to be on top of them. All right. So what stays above the vision? You can really let that vision to has its roots in your psyche if you know the purpose. What is the purpose that is more valuable than the vision? You have the vision for a purpose. If you don't know the purpose of your vision, a vision remains a dream. So you might hear that a plan without action is not a plan, or a vision without a plan is not a vision. But the stem that connects these levels is the purpose. You can only believe in your vision if you know the purpose. What is going to be the impact of my vision in the world? How am I going to leave a mark after my life? Or who is that person? What is that cause for which I'm ready to sacrifice so much, for which I'm ready to put everything I have, my ideas, my desires, my vision, everything, right? So this is the next level. Now let's move forward. Another example, which is, then we take it a little bit more practical. We have the ideas. An idea just comes. You have an idea, I was like, wow, that's a great idea. But that's still not something. So that's the ground level. Now we have the next level, which is the next level. The next level is a plan, right? So you might find yourself that you're full of ideas, but the more you entertain this process of generating ideas, and you don't test them into a plan, you don't put it to work into a plan and see what of them are good, practical, which of them needs some reflection, then you never develop that algorithm which is inside in your psyche that will help you to filter the ideas so that you navigate them much faster. Therefore, you have to learn to make the decisions. Now we'll dive into that a little bit. So now let's stick to ideas, plan. Now what's above the plan? Above the plan are the actions. Every plan that is not tested, as the ideas, if the ideas are not tested, they remain just ideas. That's why the same thing is applicable to the plan. If you try to build a plan, but then you don't execute it, doesn't mean if it's a good plan or a bad plan. Is the perfect plan, or is this plan going to bring you success or not? Doesn't matter. The most important thing is to learn to build better plans after you learn how to filter your ideas. And how do you do that? By practicing all three levels at the same time. You learn how to filter better ideas. You know how to build a plan out of an idea. And you also have to take action upon them. If you don't take action upon them, then those algorithms, the algorithm of the building a plan or filtering ideas, it's not going to be a practical algorithm because it's not backed up by the actions. What's above the action? A level even higher is a mission. The mission stays above the action. You hardly can go on doing something if you are not on a mission. When you are on a mission, you know what problem do you solve by sharing, by just being you with your service, through your business, through your skills. If you don't have a mission, you'll take action very hard, and you'll seek so much motivation and inspiration, and you'll start to doubt yourself. We start to build problems that don't exist because we don't know the mission. That's why it's very important. Now, some people, we're already moving to the second part of this masterclass. Some people, they stay at the first level. They just look, and hopefully this is not you, but if this is you, that's all right, no problem. Today you'll fix it. So most people stay at this level. They know, well, so many letters, but they haven't learned to express themselves. They never learn to form great ideas, to express them using the right words, even pronouncing the words, and so on and so forth. So if you stay just at the letters level, it might seem to you that you know the essence, the most important part, which it is. It's essential. But this is the foundation level, and you might play with these letters, but you're looking forward towards ideas. You want to become great at something. You want to have a style in living or doing business or writing, for example, in this dimension. And if you stay at the letters level, and many people do, they don't grow. They don't move on this scale up, and they stay there. Same thing with the drives. Some people are very driven, but they always remain here at the drive. They're very driven, and they jump from one mission to another, from one purpose to another. They never connected it to their desires, to their authentic desires, not just desires, but their own desires. They never built a vision out of it, and they never tested it. So they're very driven, but in time they become discouraged. So now you're listening through or reading through the lines, and you might start already observing that, probably somewhere I haven't connected these levels. All right? So what is, now out of this structure, out of this map, I'm sure that you have already thought that probably I didn't always thought in this three-level building, or this three-dimensional thinking, or this kind of operating system. And you might be already thinking that I gotta pay some attention, but I'm not sure to which of these domains yet. Well, now while we're diving to the second part, then we're going to use this framework, we're going to use this structure so that we can actually get to practical understanding of how can we discover those reasons and which of them, because there are so many in this structure. So you want to find yours, adjust it quickly, and grow faster. Now, we can say one thing about these three levels. We can put them in this way. This one is the discovery. This one is the discovery level. The second level is the mastery. This is the mastery level, and this is the growth. the growth level. It's important to know what you're made of, to know what makes you so special as a human being, and to stop operating at this very low level of operating, of thinking, of moving forward. Not using just ideas, just being driven, and only the letters. But how can I move to the next level when some of us stuck at the first level, some of us stuck at the second level, some of us stuck at the third level? And you'd say, wow, but that's the growth. That's amazing. Well, if you look on top, let's switch a little bit of color. If you look on top, then you see that the purpose and the mission is something more than just doing stuff, or it's more than just growing, it's more than just mastery. This is wisdom. This is wisdom. And we don't need 80 years, a long life, to become wiser. We can already start to build these 3 levels and to connect the foundation with the roof. So the roots and the roof, so we can start to connect these domains, because that's what makes us so unique, so special, being humans, and we forget about it. So what are those 3 reasons? What are those 3 reasons? Let me move this a little bit around so that we can make more space. So if you want to maybe take a screenshot, and probably let me make now a little bit bigger. Maybe you want to take a screenshot of this structure, because you might need it in order to analyze and ask yourself, at what level am I, and am I diligent enough in order to pay attention to all these 3 levels, not being focused only into one. So of course there is much more to talk about this structure, but it is enough for now as we're moving forward, so that you can use this framework for something even more meaningful. All right. So what are the 3 reasons? The reason number 1. The reason number 1 is operating at one level only. Operating at only one level. Because some of us are very good at being driven, they're good at driving also others, but they're not very good at organizing a great practical plan. Others are very good, they're not very creative, but they're very great at seeing what's practical, what would be the vision, what would be the plan out of those ideas. And if you don't have a big team in your business, maybe you're a one-man show, or maybe you just have now 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, or maybe you just passing the threshold of 10 employees, you already know what I'm talking about and what is that level. It's absolutely a different kind of thinking. You don't only manage yourself, you start to manage also other people, and you have to start to shift from one role to another, from the founder to the CEO, or from being the visionary of your business. So there are different levels. Wherever you are, sometimes we we stay attached to only one level. I'm good at this, and that's great. And that's amazing if you already have the possibility to give others the role, the possibility to do or to operate at different levels. And that's the beauty of building a team. But now that we're speaking about you as the leader of your business or the leader of your project that you're working on, if you don't have this structure in your mind and your heart, then it will be also very hard to build a team, because you'll see so many great things or you'll see so many imperfection, but if you don't have the structure of how to build things, how to put things together, then you'll stay focused on what's missing, on what you lack, and you never move forward, and then that's why your growth is very slow. So if you are operating at only one level, that will take you so far, but will slow down your growth. So we need the second one, which is the second reason, and is the myth of and never give up. Well, this is a myth sometimes. Why? Because flexibility is wisdom. It's not always flexibility. It's not always reasonable to give up. It requires wisdom in order to know when's the right time to give up. And if you know when you have to be flexible and put your ambition, your stubbornness a little bit aside, then you're going to win. If you're not flexible, if you're so attached to those ideas, and you remember there are ideas, is a plan, and there is a vision, there is a mission which stays above. And if you don't know those other levels, you're stuck to the idea, and you believe so much in the idea, and you don't grow because you are attached to one level only. So that's the first. But the second one, flexibility. The second one, it's so important. I can share you a story from my experience when I started to build my business, and I thought that everyone should know or learn something. That was my idea. But I forgot about one thing, that when I was forced to learn something, it's not because I woke up in the morning and say, I want to learn this or that, or I want to learn marketing. I didn't know the word marketing until I needed, but I needed something else. I didn't think about marketing. So as long as the idea it's not put to work into a plan, you'll never face the next challenge, which is going to unlock your growth. And you're at that level there, and you're waiting and hoping for that moment when everything is going to be different and the world's going to change, and you will prove yourself that you are right or that I'm right. And we do that very often. If you do that, that might be a reason for which your growth is slow, and you can make it much faster. So look at your flexibility and use the framework which I provided with you a little bit earlier. Use that framework to make sure that your ideas are connected with the next levels of your being, not just thinking, not just feeling, with your whole being. What is the third reason? Is not working enough. And you'd say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean not working enough? Do you know how much do I work? Well, you see, there is one thing about the work, that we do so much work, but is mixed with doubt, especially if you are at the beginning. Let's face it, let's say it. It's mixed with doubt, and that's okay. We need trust. But what happens is that when we don't work enough, or we're not working on the right thing, and we say, how do I know what's the right thing to work? Use the framework. Use the framework. Connect the desire with the drives, with the vision, so that you might be somewhere around. You might not be 100% on your thing immediately. You might not be working on the right thing from the first attempt, and that's okay, and that's fine. But the problem is that if we don't connect those three levels, then we start to doubt not only the mission, we start to doubt ourselves. We start to doubt that if we deserve whatever we put our mind to. We start to doubt if we have the abilities, or are we ever going to be ready? Are we ever going to achieve whatever we want to achieve? Now I might say, what's about this not working enough? There are some ramifications. The one is mastery. What is mastery? The mastery is your ability to perform something in such a manner that you don't even have to really think about it. So if you find yourself that you are working a lot, really working a lot, and you haven't become good at something in a very long time, that's a huge question mark. because it's absolutely true. If you're an entrepreneur, you know that you do work, you work, and you don't see the results, but the things are happening. You're becoming better at something. And then you work again, you work more, and the results are not there, but you become even better. But if you do work a lot and you don't see the results, which might be the case, that's another conversation for another day, and you don't see the results, and you know that it requires time, depends also about the scale of your project, all right, but if you don't become better at something, this is a serious question mark. So use this question in order to understand, am I achieving mastery at something while I'm working so much? Or it is spread out, there is not enough focus, and you're just working a lot. And you might say, I'm working a lot. But working enough is when you push as much as you can push on the right thing. And the answer, which I just shared with you, what is the right thing? Check. There are many other checks, but the most important one, am I achieving mastery at something? Because if you don't, then you've got to revise a little bit, use that framework, and you have to check a little bit what's going on in your business, in your life, in your mindset, so that you are not just pushing forward without understanding where are you going, what's the mission, what's the vision, what's the purpose that stays above your work, above your pushing hard. Now, let's look a little bit also. So this is the question. It's about the mastery. Ask yourself, am I becoming good, better at something? Now, let's talk a little bit about the flexibility. What are the blocking steps or stones that are blocking our flexibility? The number one is our ego. When our ego is so strong, so powerful, that serves and helps us in some situations, but it is our enemy in other situations. Now, we have to become wise enough to know when is your ego serving, bring a little bit of spice in your working process, and when your ego is blocking you from expanding. Expanding not only your knowledge, but expanding your experience and expanding your vision. And if your ego, how let's elaborate a little bit here. What is this ego about? When we believe so much in an idea that we haven't tested, we start to optimize things that we don't know yet if they're going to work or not. And we believe it not for the sake of the purpose. We don't believe it, even if it's at the unbelievable level yet. But if we force to believe it, not for the sake of the purpose or for the sake of the mission, but we force ourselves to believe it because we want to believe it. I just want it to be right, so then I don't become a swimming pool. An ocean. Because we are oceans full of energy. There are rivers that are bringing water in and water out, and we are so much and so creative. But sometimes our ego wants us to become a swimming pool. Just puts us in a square, do this, do that, and force it to work. And when it comes to time for flexibility, for a little bit of creativity, we don't do that because our ego says, "No, you're gonna be in the ocean. Everybody's gonna see you that you are maybe insecure, or maybe you don't know what you're doing, or maybe you're going to make some mistakes, and that's not what your ego wants from you, from me, from everyone." So the ego is the number one reason that prevents us from being flexible, because being flexible needs vulnerability, and if we don't have vulnerability, we struggle with it, then probably our ego is not in check, and we are praising the mantra of never give up, but not at the right time. A secret is not a secret. A secret is a very well-known concept. The problem with the secret is knowing when is the right time to apply it. When is the right time to never give up, and when is the time to step a little bit backward. In operating at only one level, the number one reason, it's very, very simple. Lack of self-knowledge. Not only self-mastery, of self-knowledge, not even mastery, knowledge. So, is it enough space? Yes. Not even mastery, but knowledge. What makes me a human being a human being? Not only a human functioning, but a human being. What makes me? What am I made of? Sometimes we think, and we think that I am what I think. Descartes was a little bit wrong. We already achieved this level. We can already understand this. You are not what you think. Others who might say that you are what you do. Not really. We are what we're trying to do, not what we want to do. That's partial. We are trying to do. Because I am already before I can do it. But if I set my mind and my soul and my energy towards one goal, before I achieve it, I am already it. So we are more what we're trying to do than what we are doing. Because I might be doing, because I'm trying, I'm struggling, so I'm working on it, and the results might be also the fruits of what I was doing before. So, lack of self-knowledge, not knowing what makes me, me, will always hold us hostages. Will hold us hostages in the lower levels of awareness, of operational and thinking process, will hold us hostages here. And we fight our drives, we doubt our drives, we are scared of our drives, we ignore ideas because we don't trust our imagination, our creativity, because creativity is not part of the mind. It happens in the mind. It seems that it happens in the mind, but it is processed in the mind. Creativity comes from the river, from the geyser of your soul, and the mind is the part of ourselves that helps to process it and to help us to make a decision about what do I want to do with this creativity. So being hostages, or allowing ourselves to stay hostages here by our ideas, which is the mind, being a hostage of your own mind, and doesn't allow you to move forward towards a plan, towards an action, towards mission, because your mind doesn't really think about your mission. The mission is a soul thing. It's a life thing. It's not a mind thing. That's why you don't want to assign this kind of task to your mind. It will trick you and it will hold you hostage in a lower level of your being and a low level of consciousness. And that's not the place you want to stay if you want to grow and evolve and flourish and bring so much into this world, into your life. Right? So now let's look at the drives. What is the drive? The drives is made of a couple of things. Some genetic source of being, some ego, and ego also is mixed or blended with some ambition. The one comes from the other. So if one gets stuck at this level, ego, ambition, then you will start to have a fight within yourself. And you'll say, why have I have to work 80 years in order to transform myself into a better version of who I am? Well, while it's true that we have to become more, it is also true the next statement from a specific perspective, and it sounds like this one. Smart people focus on who they are. Haven't you observed this? I thought about it so much, and it might serve you because it changed my life. Smart people focus on who they are, and they really try to change it. I have to rectify and adjust a little bit. Smart people focus on who they are not, because I already jumped to the next one, to the wise level. So smart people focus on who they are not, and they really try to fix it. And wise people focus on who they are, and they allow it to happen. Just make it happen. You will observe one thing, that there are so many things which don't go the way we plan. And if we focus on everything that doesn't go the way we want, or we think that should, we will have a million problems every single day. And you will be so busy solving them. Every title or idea that sounds like you have to work a little bit smarter or a little bit more strategic will trigger you so much. I remember those moments, phases in my life when I was solving all kind of problems. The question was, should I solve these kind of problems? Why do I have these kind of problems? What were the decisions, the beliefs that led towards these situations where I'm spending 18 hours a day solving things or problems which don't bring me the results or don't help me to move higher on this ladder of consciousness, simply put. So now you have this framework. You can look at it and ask yourself, am I using this ladder? Am I connecting these lower worlds, this middle level of my world, the higher self, the higher mind, the higher level of my being? Am I connecting these three? Or I'm just stuck to one end? My mantra is this and only this. Flexibility is not a matter of the mind. Flexibility is a wisdom thing. And you get to the wisdom, as you can see in this framework, when you pass these three levels. And how do you pass them? You just have to do them. You just have to accomplish them. So as you can look at the letters, words, ideas. So that might help you to use this as a framework. It's very simple. If you lose yourself a little bit. Drives. The drive is what is pushing me forward. If you're a leader and you're very driven, then sometimes you forget about connecting it to your desires. And you're just driving, exploding all over the place. Every single day you get angry, you get frustrated when things don't go your way because you're driven, but you don't have clear desires. And let alone if you don't have a vision. And if you don't have the purpose, then it might go for a longer time with a vision. If you don't have a vision, this is a painful game. It's a very painful game. Just to play with your drives and desires, it's very painful. You're going to be bounced from one wall to another. If you have a vision, then you are much more aligned. Then you know you have a direction. You have a purpose almost. If you see it and if you allow it to happen and you bring it in your life and you align your desires, your drives with your purpose. All right. So now you have the framework. I'm going to go back to the screen that we used until now. So you have the framework, and also you have the three reasons that might hold you hostage at one level and not allowing you to grow faster, to grow and to stop doubting yourself, to stop forgetting about what makes you you. That's not the place you deserve to be. So if you want to learn the basics, what makes me me, the number one thing which you can already know is the mind. Knowing the role that a mind plays in my nature as a human being. How can I control my mind? What are the inputs channels in my mind? How can I filter, analyze? How can I use my mind for a better performance? And to know when I should not allow my mind to solve soul things, matters, or dimensions. How can I use my mind in such a way that it can serve my mission, my vision, so that I can become a wisdom master, not just a thinking process walking onto feet,
because you are much more than that. So Hack Your Mind is the program that you want to get a look into at exploreselfmba.com. I'm going to leave the links in the description below so you can access right now. If you go to exploreselfmba.com, I have multiple programs, but you can start with the most simple one. It will take you an hour and a half at max, and it's Hack Your Mind before it hacks you, so that you can start to understand more about how can you trick your mind sometimes, because it is a tricky game. But if you can unlock this level, then you can move into the next level, into the third one, so that you can reach the fourth one. So what I would say, to start to build your own house of wisdom. If that's what you're looking for, then feel free now to go in the description below, click the link, and go and change your life, because it will change your life if you allow it to happen. Thank you for your attention. I wish you all the best. Grow faster, grow better, stay aligned with who you are, change your life, and leave a mark behind your life and change the world while still alive, while still here achieving great things. Wish you all the best, and see you in the next masterclass. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.